AI shopping is finally here, and honestly, it surprised me at just how fast kind of it came about. However, it's not surprising at all to me that Shopify is at the cutting edge. Last week, some researchers found some leaked Shopify code within ChatGPT's source code, and while it doesn't necessarily suggest doesn't necessarily confirm a ChatGPT and Shopify partnership, it does suggest that there is a partnership probably coming within the next few weeks or months or even sooner. So, with that all being said, I want to break down what this leak means with the source code, what a ChatGPT Shopify partnership would look like, and how to prepare for it. Obviously, in terms of SEO, but as a Shopify store owner, Shopify merchant, you want to squeeze every single dollar you can out of every single channel. So, want to walk through all that. So let's get to it. All right. So last week, like I said, researchers basically found some Shopify code within ChatGPT's kind of internal data. So there's been no official announcement of a partnership, but again, it does kind of suggest that this will be the case. Okay. So there's a few headline articles. TechRadar and Stride are the two I'm going to cover today. Just those two seem to be the best from everything I've read thus far. Basically, headline of the articles rather. New code reveals that ChatGPT may soon support in-chat purchase via Shopify. Chat would offer prices, reviews, and embedded checkout through the AI platform, and the feature would give Shopify merchants access to ChatGPT's users while making OpenAI an e-commerce platform. Okay, this is big for Shopify. Definitely big. AI adoption has been happening for the last 2.5 years at a rapid pace. This also really gives OpenAI a solid edge on Google, opening them up to an e-commerce platform. Okay, I think it's something like 40%. I don't know. Maybe it's like 20 to 40%, somewhere in there, of all e-commerce purchases I believe are happening on Shopify. Don't quote me on that number, but I believe that's the number I've heard the most recently is somewhere in that range. So if OpenAI can be a part of that 20 to 40%, that will make them an immediate, that'll make them an even more legitimate competitor, kind of against Google, in the e-commerce race. All right. Now moving over to the Stride article. So basically what everyone found, or the researchers, and these are just people. There's no team set out to do this, but basically references to buy now buttons in ChatGPT, product info, and the Shopify checkout URL within ChatGPT's software and source code. Okay, this would basically suggest that a user can start a search for some kind of product or products. ChatGPT will suggest a list of products, and then a user can natively just click a buy now button, and then they'll run through the entire Shopify checkout process kind of in ChatGPT, right? Probably like an embedded version. But in any case, they wouldn't have to visit to an external site. Everything would happen flawlessly through ChatGPT. Now, again, this is just leaked code. There's no partnership on any clear horizon. I would imagine this is probably in beta testing at this point. It is very difficult to say that they're going to get this right early on. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of issues. People are trusting ChatGPT for informational research. It remains to be seen whether or not people are actually going to trust ChatGPT to buy, natively through the platform. So my assumption would be there'd be an option to buy natively within ChatGPT, as well as kind of a link to buy on that Shopify site specifically itself, right? Now, this isn't really shocking, and I do want to get into how to optimize for this as an SEO, as well as just a Shopify brand owner. But one thing, like I said earlier on, this isn't really that shocking that Shopify's on the front end of this. Shopify's been Shopify's been the leading e-commerce platform in terms of growth for the last probably better part of a decade, if more than a decade actually at this point. So that's not really that shocking, right? And even just a couple weeks ago, founder of Shopify leaked a internal memo that he thought was going to be leaked, Toby. And basically, we're an AI first team. So if you're not using AI for everything immediately, like probably not the company for you, right? So Shopify has been very bullish on AI, so it's not surprising that they wanted to get into the mix with ChatGPT as soon as they could. Okay, now moving on to how to optimize, right? There's still a lot of theories about how you can rank for LLMs. I put out a video a couple weeks ago now, like a week or two ago, that says middle of the funnel, bottom funnel content is getting cited at a higher rate than any top funnel content. So I think it's like 50 to 74% of all citations in LLM are coming from middle funnel and bottom funnel content. That middle of the funnel, bottom funnel content means product pages, collection pages, or category pages if you're on another platform. Buying guides, competitor alternatives, you versus competitor, things of that nature, right? These are the citations that are getting earned the most in LLMs, not so much top of funnel informational queries. Okay, so that's what the data says about what LLMs and like ChatGPT are kind of wanting to present to you. Now, how do you actually earn those rankings? I figured the best place to go would be to ChatGPT directly. Go to the source and see exactly how ChatGPT kind of defines their optimization. Okay, so I just asked, I heard you guys have a new partnership with Shopify. Is it true? They put up a few articles, basically confirm that there's no active partnership, just that there is code that was kind of discovered. Okay, again, just highlighting kind of the benefits for everyone, or really this what's at stake for kind of each shareholder or each party. For users, potential for a seamless shopping experience, which is sick. For Shopify merchants, stores will gain access to ChatGPT's extensive user base, which is one of the fastest growing, actually probably the fastest growing user base on the planet across any social media platform or search engine of any kind, right? I think it's something like 400 million users, like 400 million weekly users on ChatGPT. And I don't know the percentage of growth over the week or the month, but I'm sure it's astounding. Okay, so Shopify getting plugged into a channel like that is going to be nuts. For e-commerce, like I said, this is a big move for OpenAI against Google as well as Amazon as well. Microsoft's Copilot is quite good. I don't think it's the biggest e-commerce competitor, as ChatGPT suggests, right here. But I think OpenAI is taking really big steps with this partnership, if it's going to be a confirmed partnership, to really become a bigger thorn in Google and Amazon's side. All right. Now, I want to see how I can optimize my store for this. So let's get into it. This is what ChatGPT has said on how to optimize for ChatGPT and Shopify. Okay. So perfect your product listings is step number one. They're going to pull product titles, descriptions, prices, details, reviews. These elements must be clear and concise, detailed descriptions, high quality images, accurate pricing, and shipping info. Okay. This isn't news. If you don't already have this, you should. Most of this stuff is required to even run Google Ads or Meta Ads. High quality images as well, like that. You should have, if you consider yourself a Google Ads marketer, a Meta Ads marketer, or even an SEO marketer, you should have all of these things already dialed in. So this isn't really new. I will say I am interested to see how the descriptions go. Product descriptions have been something I've historically rather not touched when we work with brands directly. I try to leave that kind of in their own style and branding. However, I'm interested to see how descriptions will play a role. I think something, if you're describing a certain piece of clothing, instead of just describing what the clothing is and what it's made of and things like that, describing what it's used for, right? If all of a sudden it's, a pair of sweatpants, but, it used to just be a pair of sweatpants, black, made of cotton, whatever. Now all of a sudden it's a pair of sweatpants that's good for, running or weightlifting or, lazy days on the couch or, some travel days even. All of these things now, any mention of those words in the description will give you an increased chance of getting cited in a ChatGPT conversation with some user that's looking for something like that. Okay. So I will be curious to see how much descriptions play a role in moving forward, but everything else, you should have all this stuff. Okay. This is all very straightforward. Nothing new here. If you're doing SEO and you're already optimizing for Google, you should have already taken care of those first 4 or 5 things anyway. Okay. Focus on reviews and social proof. Again, pretty straightforward stuff as a marketer. Your only job as a marketer is to get more reviews and get more social proof so that you can get more customers, to get more reviews, to get more social proof, to get more customers, right? It's a flywheel. Okay. You need more 4 or 5-star reviews. You need to highlight key benefits to get all these kinds of things. I will say, God, I hate TripAdvisor, but I would imagine third-party review sites like ChatGPT mentions Judge Me and Yotpo for that. I would imagine reviews are going to play a huge role in visibility within LLMs like Chat. So if you've got a review issue, you should start thinking about fixing it more effectively. Use Shopify's native tools, so activate Shopify Markets if you sell internationally. Again, you should already be doing this. Shopify payments and accelerated checkouts, you should already be doing this. Optimize your checkout settings to minimize steps. You should already be doing this. Okay, this is like standard e-com stuff. Nothing new. Optimize for mobile and speed is number 4. Even if ChatGPT users don't fully browse your site, your Shopify store must load lightning fast when clicked. If they're shopping in ChatGPT, keep in mind the seamless integration would reason to believe that they're actually never going to visit your site, meaning it's never going to have to load for them. However, if your site is super slow to load, it's likely that ChatGPT is not going to continue to waste resources on a slow site, so it'll just serve someone else's site that takes them less resources, okay? Every time a conversation happens on ChatGPT, that costs OpenAI resources. Even if you're a big site, like even if you're a huge brand and you have a slow site, like if it's costing OpenAI money to run and serve your site, they just simply won't do it anymore, most likely. So fast loading pages are going to become, I mean, they're already important, right? Like that's not news, right? I have always said, like, I don't think page speed is an enormous deal for SEO, and I still believe that to be the case. You will have to apologize for the background noise. Apparently they're doing construction on my hotel in Taiwan. Anyway, I've always said, like, image compression is important for sure. Page speed, I don't think is like the most important. Like if your site loads below 2.5-3 seconds, you're good, right? I think that's still going to be probably the standard benchmark for a solid page speed with ChatGPT. Okay, I don't think you need to load faster for ChatGPT to decide to serve you, like to serve you your brand, right? However, if you're loading at 4 or 5 seconds, again, like you're a wasted resource for them. They're just not going to serve you. So think about speed. Again, it's not going to be the most critical component of visibility and rankings in LLMs like ChatGPT, but it's going to be important nonetheless. Number 5, structure your product catalog intelligently. They're going to be browsing collections and recommended alternatives. Not shocking. Create tight, specific collections, something like men's lightweight surf hoodies versus men's clothing. I talk a lot about this. Like 50%, no, more than 50% of most of our success as an agency comes from the amount of collections we create and the amount of collections we then also are able to rank. Okay, someone like ranking for a keyword like men's clothing is going to do pretty much little to nothing for your brand in terms of revenue, and it's also going to take you years to pull it off. Okay, however, if you can create a bunch of collections that are derivatives or sub collections of men's clothing, and you can rank all of those, it's gonna take less time. You're gonna convert at a better rate, and all of a sudden you're just gonna have, like, all of your keywords are gonna start rising. Like the stock value of your site is gonna go way up. Similarly to ChatGPT, people are not searching broad things in ChatGPT. Everyone is being hyper specific about the way they search and type and interact with chat. So if someone's searching for a lightweight surf hoodie and you've got a collection page for it, you substantially increase your odds of ranking for it comparatively to if you just have a men's clothing collection or even just a men's hoodie collection. Okay, so I've been preaching about being very liberal with your collections and sub-collections. You should continue to do that, as it will continue to benefit you not only in Google but also in ChatGPT. Consistent tagging and categorization. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you should be doing that already as well. Similar with like your internal linking structure should be totally dialed in, and your site hierarchy. Okay, bundling products or offering upsells. If you're a brand, like if you're even a moderately successful brand, you're already bundling products and offering upsells. So I would be curious to see how these upsells will work in ChatGPT, but you should always be working to boost your AOV. So bundles and upsells, again, you should already be doing things like this. Strengthen your branding. You have seconds inside ChatGPT to make an impression. Logo and branding. Use a clean, modern logo. Quick, compelling brand story. Emotional connection matters. Trust badges, secure checkout, SSL guarantees all should be visually obvious. Clean logo, goes without saying, you've probably already spent months thinking about a logo, so it should be clean and modern. An about section, most brands have an about page, so maybe clean it up. I feel like a lot of brands just write it once and then never go back to it. Maybe it's worth refreshing, just making sure like you fit your values and the brand, like the products you sell, things like that, what it's made of, all that good stuff. Trust badges, you should have SSL, you should have secure checkout. You already have secure checkout. Actually, if you're on Shopify, SSL you should have, like 99% of brands should have that. Any guarantees, money back, shipping times, success guarantee, whatever it may be. Yeah, you should have this. Any like other trust badges would be, if you're featured in any magazines, publications, all that good stuff, like all those things, all that social proof we talked about earlier, all that stuff is good to have. Okay. Bonus here is prepare for conversational shopping. Shopify chatbots to handle product questions smartly. I know a lot of people are already using AI customer service bots and AI chatbots to kind of answer questions natively within their D2C site. So I don't know if ChatGPT will give you the option to integrate that directly or if it'll just use their own. But in any case, like if you have an FAQ page or FAQs on product pages or collection pages, you should have a pretty extensive list of them, and they should be written in a very strict Q&A format. Also, like the answer should be exceptionally simple, like a third grader could read and understand your answer. So if your FAQ section is a little bit complicated, worth simplifying. Using tools like Reconverter, CartHook to add post-purchase upsells, since ChatGPT checkout flows might initially skip them. I would be so curious to see how ChatGPT handles purchase stuff. I'd also be curious to see how they handle retention with emails and stuff. I want that'll integrate with how that'll integrate. I don't know. We'll see. I suppose. I also went through a checklist here, like just one more conversation with chat here to see how it goes. This is kind of just reiterating what we talked about, but I will actually link this chat below if you want to check this out. And you can create this checklist, copy this checklist, or recreate your own, whatever. But product listings, reviews and social proof, speed and mobile optimization, checkout flow, catalog and navigation, branding and trust, conversational experience prep. Okay. So hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I've got a new video coming out and super excited about it. See you guys then.